Welcome back to We Talk News, and this is the final section of the show. We call it the C Block. I'm Alaina Pinto. There's a very interesting battle emerging in Minnesota where they continue to set up their new adult use market. There is, however, already a lawsuit filed against the state. In that state's constitution, there is a clause that's causing some confusion right out of the gate. In Minnesota, it says a person can sell anything they grow from their garden. And the new laws in Minnesota are allowing the home grow of up to 8 plants per residence. So now some of the home growers want to cash in on their own crop and are using that state's constitution to fight for the right to sell their own home grow. This case is worth following, especially in states that are not allowing home grow. Even in Washington state, which was one of the first 2 states in the US to legalize the use of cannabis, you have to get a quote, grower's permit if you exceed the 4 plants per household. This is not that big of a problem in California, where residents can grow up to 6 plants per dwelling, as long as you are over 21 and your county or city allows it, and you might have to get a permit. Nothing is easy in cannabis. Following the goings on in the Golden State is LeVanna Vassau.
I'm LeVanna Vassau from the Bay Sesh on 89.5 FM at KZCT, reporting for PCM with this week's California report for We Talk News. UC Merced will receive a $3.9 million grant to fund their Nicotine and Cannabis Policy Center's Tobacco-Related Disease Research Program, a UC-based entity. The director of the research center, Arturo Durazo, stated in the UC Merced press release, in short, we want to mentor our successors. There are also research papers in the works that analyze responses to interviews about barriers to tobacco control policies in the Valley and local foothills, along with a statement on cannabis control that targets emerging policies that promote the cannabis market as healthy or functional, his air quotes. A trucker named Douglas Horn is suing a CBD company, Dixie X of Vista, California, in a California Supreme Court. Horn is seeking RICO charges in this lawsuit after he failed a routine drug test by testing positive for THC. After failing that test, Horn claims he took the supposedly THC-free product in for testing and discovered that it tested positive for THC. On Friday, June 21st, the vertically integrated law enforcement-owned California Cannabis Goliath Glasshouse Brands, Inc. is hosting its 3rd annual Investor Sesh at their Camarillo, SoCal facility, which is the largest farm in the U.S. Glasshouse Brands is publicly traded on the Canada stock market and one of the fastest growing cannabis companies in the world. I'm LeVanna Vassau from the Bay Sesh on 89.5 FM KZCT, reporting for PCM with this week's California report for We Talk News.
According to the Blue Mountain Eagle publication out of Oregon, there is a study that shows the fact that traffic fatalities actually decrease in legal states. Researchers looked at data from California, Maine, Nevada, and Massachusetts. They compared these statistics with 5 states where cannabis is still illegal. They were Idaho, Indiana, Kansas, Nebraska, and Wyoming. The researchers concluded that studies like these have failed to show that legalization of cannabis has resulted in any significant increases in traffic fatalities. Unfortunately, the same statistics in all of those states are not true for alcohol. Coming up next on Weed Talk News, we check in with one of our most popular pro-cannabis shows in the country. That's Thomas Howard's Cannabis Legalization News and his co-host, Miggy 420.
Let me in. Dude, what was that past week? I mean, like Thursday and then Friday. It was hard to get work done. Well, I mean, I know you're super excited, but for all the people in the back room that were bitching and moaning about Biden and like, the president should just fucking, could you let the crowd in the back the people in the back know again that the president can't legalize it through sweep of a pen because that is overreach. This is as far as the executive branch can go, and the executive branch could be different before this method that we are in the middle of is over. It's entirely conceivable that the final rule for this may not be promulgated, which is just a fancy verb for making up rules, until after the election and after January 20th of next year, which is when Biden is either starting his second term or Trump is starting his second term. Whether or not either of these and how either of these are going to play out remains to be seen, but I'd vote for Biden for this very reason. His party seems to be way more cannabis friendly than Donald Trump's party.
Coming back east to our home state of Massachusetts, there are few rules that have reared their ugly side, and some consumers and growers of hemp are concerned. Here's PCM founder Jimmy Young with the Bay State Cannabis Report, plus a look at a neighbor state, Rhode Island.
I'm PCM founder Jimmy Young, and this is the Bay State Cannabis Report for We Talk News. If any of you know any geography at all, you might know that their two most beautiful islands in New England are off the coast of Cape Cod, Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket. Technically, both are treated like Massachusetts towns, but there is a catch. The water around both islands is considered international waters, and it's controlled by the U.S. Coast Guard. Now, there are two dispensaries on Martha's Vineyard, and one is Fine Fettle and the other is Island Time. On Nantucket, there are two as well. Make that ACT Cannabis and the Green Lady. Both are reliant on growing their own product because shipping cannabis on federally controlled waters is still not allowed. Both have to be self-sufficient. That means they have to grow it, process it, and sell it on each island. Fine Fettle, a Connecticut-owned dispensary, has announced they'll be closing at the end of the summer. They were a vertical, so they were able to grow their own product and sell it. If that wholesale option ends, Island Time has to figure out another legal way to get its product for sale to the dispensary. The Cannabis Control Commission is aware of this problem and is trying to figure out how off-island cannabis can be transported to the islands. Now, they allow ferries to carry product in Santa Clara Island in California, and they also transport medical cannabis between the islands in Hawaii. Here in New England, though, the state of Maine is allowing the transport of product to its calendar islands, and it seems to me that a waiver just needs to be instituted. Another New England state that has a kind of a vibrant medical market and a growing adult use market is Rhode Island. Like so many stories about new markets having issues with their implementation for social equity licenses, that's Rhode Island, and they're no different. That's Christina Contreras is a state lobbyist for Rhode Island for the Black Business Association, and she explains why the existing laws supposedly protecting and helping social equity applicants are filled with loopholes that could be exploited.
There's still so much work that needs to be done to close the loopholes within the equity fund and to ensure that legalization, which the intent of it was not just to prevent any future harm by via prohibition, but to undo the harm and violence that prohibition had brought to our state and families for so many years, for decades, for generations.
We will release the full interview with Christina on Thursday, and that'll do it for this week's Bay State Report, plus Rhode Island this week. Anyway, I'm PCM founder Jimmy Young. Back to Alaina on the anchor desk.
And finally, the state of Florida is going to be watched closely during the next election because for the third time, Floridians have rallied to get another try at passing adult use in that state that already has a thriving medical market. Don't think that is a slam dunk to pass? Well, a recent poll in that state on that question concludes that the measure will not pass because now, even though 58% of people in the study said yes, but they still need 60% to get it passed and into law. So if you know anyone in Florida, call them and educate them about the benefits of the tax money and the plant medicine. That's Weed Talk News for this week. I'm Alaina Pinto. Remember, it's a whole new world of weed out there. Use it responsibly.
Coming up on We Talk News this week, WNBA superstar and Olympic champion Brittany Griner gets busted at a Russian airport for carrying hash oil.
Hi, everyone. I'm Alaina Pinto, and this is Weed Talk News.
Hey, everybody. It's Brandon Jones with Big Green Distribution with the Missouri Cannabis Report.
I'm Karen Black from Greenfinger Consulting with the Arizona Cannabis Report.
I'm Matthew Friedlander, coming to you from the owner's office here at Skagit Organics.
I'm Amy Carter from Michigan Weedsters.
My name's Tom. You can find me over at Cannabis Legalization News.
I'm Jill Goldsberry with We Talk News New Jersey, and we are back.
Andrew Behringer here reporting from Washington, D.C.
Our Canadian correspondent with We Talk News, Debbie Fazy with the Canadian Toke of the Week.
I'm Doug Miller from Highland Wall Street with this week's Cannabis Stock Report for We Talk News.